All right, Jose, let's get this party started. We were kind of talking and back and forth a little bit. It was taking a little bit to get this thing kicked off. So, Jose, what's going on, my friend?
Doing well, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
It's Friday, and any day that I wake up is a good day.
Amen, amen. Well, so listen, Jose, I hear your business is doing pretty good. So, tell us a little bit about that. I know we done a little bit of promotion stuff, but tell us a little bit about like how you guys are revolutionizing the youth sports organization.
Yeah. So our organization was co-founded by three individuals, two actually retired NFL players, um, and basically the goal of the system was to create an application that allowed organizations in the youth sports space to have a complete end-to-end workflow solution. There's a lot of organizations out there today that have, I call them hyenas. They do
Mhm.
some things very well, but if I'm an organization like an AAU travel or an athletic director, I have to support multiple applications for different parts of what I have to accomplish, whether it's scheduling, communications, rosters, any fundraising as part of it, and it's all in different applications. And also, I have to manage a cost. And a lot of our schools today, their funding is very tight. So the goal of our system was really to create a revenue stream for the organizations that use our system with a single end-to-end workflow solution for youth sports.
I got you. And how do they do the revenue stream? What does that look like?
So the revenue share happens in a variety of different ways. One is in the sponsorship world. So we, along with them, go out and get sponsorships on their behalf as part of it. So as part of that piece of it, there's a revenue share associated with that on the ones that we bring for the organization.
You mean so like advertising through the app when people are getting on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or example, we have a full database of all the businesses that are small and mid-sized throughout the United States. We collect their zip code. We pop up the top 100 organizations that struggled during the COVID days, as an example. And
Mhm.
then we go after them to be able to explain to them that this is a revenue share model as a sponsor, as part of it. And once again, the conversations are ongoing as part of it. So we have our own resources that we help each one of our teams that come on our system to be able to gain that traction. So that's the one
Gotcha.
piece, the first piece. Second one is fundraising through the traditional models. We have, chocolate companies, cookie companies, and we pop their logos on their site, and anybody who purchases, they're able to make a revenue share from that transaction.
And so
We
the end users are
The consumer, mom, dad, aunt, uncle.
okay.
No, but not for the application. It's the coaches, the athletic directors, the AAU travel program.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And
those are
so
the
how are people using it? Like the moms and the dads and like what does that look like?
So the mom and dad, they get a link to register. The minute they get put on the roster, they set up their own sign-on and password, and they have an application that pops up onto their Android or iPhone, as an example, like all traditional applications
Yeah, yeah.
within that piece of it. And then they have access to all of those systems through it. The example of workplace, we have a recruiting service. So if mom and dad want to have their child play at the next level, they can actually set up a profile there. We have a partnership with NCSA, which is a recruiting organization in the
Oh, no
United
way.
States. And the minute they sign up for the service, the organization gets a revenue share from the parent signing up for the service to allow their child. So every single service that we do or partner with, there's a revenue share that the organization gets, and then a certain portion of that keeps our lights up and going as part of
Gotcha.
it.
And so like moms and dads and I guess the athletes, they're getting on and like what does that look like? Are they looking at schedules? Are they getting notifications for like, hey, practice has changed to 6 p.m. or
That's a great point. So one of the features we like to highlight is that yes, they do the traditional pop up. They'll be on their app. They'll get a
yeah.
text or an email saying something changed. But we've actually synchronized with their Outlook and Google calendars. So if mom and dad are at work and little Johnny's schedule changed, now my schedule changes at work. So I know I might have to change things around to be able to make my son or daughter's game at that point
That's
in
cool.
time, which once again, it's a small feature, but
Yeah.
then parents don't have to manage multiple calendars.
I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that we can kind of go into. But what's the big goal? Like, what are you guys trying to do right now with the business?
Well, from a business standpoint, we're just trying to expand the traction in terms of the organizations that we're dealing with. We've done a great job in terms of over the last 2 months, and obviously your organization and business and application has been far ahead of everything. You've kind of taken us to the next level, without a doubt. I'm a straightforward person, and your system and the way the process works has been a gold mine for us because I wake up in the morning and I know what my schedule looks like, who needs to have follow up conversations based on the chats that are going on, and it's synchronized with a CRM system where I'm basically just turning clients over on a weekly basis. That's why we've been able to do what we've done, especially in August. July was kind of the setup process that we went through
Yeah.
within the system, which is normal. And then when August kicked in, it was like full steam ahead, and it just keeps going and going. Customer service is absolutely awesome. So I'll give you an example. I work with your folks, and I know you probably want me to stop at a certain point because you guys are very responsive. It's for every little thing. Whether it's I'm not a technology person per se, I'm not a coder. I don't code things, but if I need something from a technology standpoint, I know exactly who to go. How they respond right away. I get my answer, and you have regular calls all week long to be able to answer my questions for me as I go through the process. So all those things have allowed me as a small organization, which is we're only 5 people, and we've got over 300 clients in 2 months with 9,000 users, and it just keeps expanding every single day.
Well, Jose, I'm not going to take all the credit. I'm not going to let our team take all the credit. Your offer is extraordinary. I think you were sharing with me some numbers, and I was kind of putting them together. And you're, I think, doing a 66% close rate with cold traffic.
Yes.
That's very hard to do, and I don't know if you know that's difficult to do. We get on we talk to a lot of businesses and they're like, hey, I can close 60, 70, 80% of the calls that I talk to. And that's mostly because they're getting referrals and it's from mom's sister's cousin and they're very warm. Now, the second that you start running paid traffic, which is not bad, but to do like to scale and to accelerate your business, you're going to reach a point like you don't want to be doing cold calls all
That's correct.
day. It's not, it's like, it's very slow to get word of mouth and like content and stuff like that. It takes years to make a dent in. So if you want to really accelerate the business, like paid ads is what you need to do. But that's a whole different type of audience because that audience is cold.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because your offer is very cold approved. Like the market likes it. The market wants it. And it's easy to get someone to say, hey, I'm interested, get them on a sales call and
Yep.
close, because you have such a good offer. So I'm not going to take all the credit.
No, no. Well,
Um,
it hits home because every mom and dad want their kids to succeed,
yeah.
and that's really where we are. And we work with a lot of nonprofit organizations that pop in as part of the process because of our model. It allows kids that parents can't financially sometimes support them to be able to play in certain sports. Our model allows those kids to be able to play right away because we work through the organization.
Yeah. Walk me through the moment that you knew like you wanted to scale, right? Because I think before you like come to a company like us or, want to do paid ads, there's got to be that moment you're like, okay, I know I need to take this and scale this up a little bit. Like walk me through that decision.
It was actually before we actually launched, to tell you the truth. Once again, because of my background, and this is a consumer model. I've traditionally dealt in the B2B space, which is a different model altogether. And this one, I'm hitting thousands and thousands of individuals because I know that the opportunities there based on you got parents, you have kids, you have sports. And sports is like the front line in our world right now. It's with social media and everything going on. It's in front of everybody's face, and obviously, parents want their kids to succeed, and the kids put a lot of time and energy. So I knew that the way to get this, or at least my thought was, once again, was to make sure that we created a scalable model from the beginning, but I wanted to make sure that the foundation, it's like I use the analogy with some of the clients of building a home. You have to get the foundation properly set up, because the minute the scaling happens, you one of the reasons businesses fail is that, let's say they do grow very fast, but you can't support that growth. You put
Mm,
yourself in an so we the foundation was built, and then your organization and your system allowed us to do the scaling in a way that I wasn't going out and knocking on everybody's door with it. Because even though the social media, yes, we can do some marketing, we put some ads out there, we can get there on Twitter and all this. But at the end of the day, the process of having an organization that I would partner with to be able to get that funnel going for me, and we would focus on core competency, which was selling the product at the end, closing it. So we've
yeah.
gotten to that point, and that was once again for in the forefront, because as in parallel to this, Justin, we have I do a lot on the partnership and distribution world. So I set up some 14 strategic partnerships as part of the process in the first couple of months to leverage their distribution channel as clients. So, example, I have a partnership with an organization that has 2,500 high school programs as their clients already, and they're a full sponsorship model also. So that partnership was established. We set up the store for those, and that's repeatable. But you know what? I'm not actually selling the service. My partner and distributor does. So this way I can focus on exactly what your organization and we do 100%. They
Yeah.
call up for implementation, but this is where we do the focus. And like I told you, I wake up in the morning, and the other piece that we're a little unique because of your system being able to handle a lot of the other legwork for us and your folks as part of the process is that we are available 24/7. People, you're not going to get a recorded message ever
Mm,
from
mhm.
our organization, and a lot of the people appreciate that on the call because they automate. Example, I've taken clients from what people so-called competitors for certain pieces of our business, and the number one reason was very simple: I get somebody on the phone eventually. I don't get a recording
Right.
as
And
part
there's
of
a
it.
lot of talk about AI right now
Oh,
of scale your business to 100K a month by using not one human being,
yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah, I've looked at all of them. Trust me.
yeah,
AI, at the end of the day, AI is really driven by a human being putting some thought behind it on what to do behind it. But yeah,
right.
you're absolutely. There's a lot of different applications that try to do it that way, but it's not. This is a repeatable, scalable model because you're
Yeah.
covering every angle as part of it.
Yeah, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, there is automations that you need to have, like when someone comes in, like sending the text message out, but it needs to look like it came from a human being, right? The thing that we saw when very early on was the moment that you start trying to add in too much automation, and like, especially with communication, that like it just like your conversion rates start to tank, right? The moment that you add in a human to human interaction, then you start seeing your conversion rates go bump up, right? So, I think you said you used to own a sales and a marketing company, right?
That's correct.
Back
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
What were you guys trying in this business before you came to us? Like, were you doing cold email, or were you doing organic, or like cold calling? Like, what did that look like?
Well, you're talking about in terms of the sales and lead generation.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir.
And that one was, like I told you, it was about 17 years, but it was mostly in financial services. And that was driven around dealing directly with the brokers, the investment managers, and trading system providers. That one was basically pick up the phone, get your leverage your Rolodex, and try to open up a certain number of uh, opportunities on a weekly basis.
Yeah, no, I guess I mean like in Team Jugular, like you had a lead generation and a sales background, right?
Yeah.
But like what led you to come to us, if that makes
Yeah.
sense?
And once again, we were a startup, needed a scalable model, and needed to leverage technology. I'm 59 years old, so I'm smart enough to know enough to say, listen, I have to leverage what's available in terms of the new day and age. So that model was not scalable and beneficial to a B2C model. Once again, B2B is different, but in a consumer model, you want to reach the masses to be able to kind of fill that funnel, and that led
Yeah.
me to you guys. And once again, just so you know, we officially launched June 1st. You were,
And it's into September right now for the
yeah,
recording. Yeah.
you signed up. I signed up with you guys June 6th. It was one of the first things I did right away because I needed to get. So I spoke to Dom, which is one of your folks. I had a great conversation. I think it took I don't know, maybe an hour in total conversation, and the documentation was sent to me. I said, "Let's get it going." And I was more of the holdup than anything because the videos and certain things is part of the setup process, but your model works in the B2C model very well for me. Once again,
Yeah.
everybody has their own opinion on that, but it's scalable. I mean, I'm getting people in South America. I'll give you an example of a client that we just signed up. It's a beautiful story. I don't know if you ever played the football with the little triangle on the kitchen table.
Oh, yeah. Where
Okay, so that
you have to bump it, and then like if you get it to the edge, that's a
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's the name of the organization is Paper Football League.
Oh,
We
nice.
just signed them up, and they have 300 organizations attached to them. We're implementing them right now, all of them in
And
different
that came
locations.
from Conversionly?
Absolutely, all through Conversionly.
Nice. Nice. I
Never
love
would have
hearing
thought, never even would have thought. I wouldn't even known to contact somebody like that. But because of the keywords, the right messages being sent out, obviously the fundraising piece and the sports aspect of it, one
yeah,
what
for sure.
kick triggers a lot of thoughts.
When you were trying to make a decision of who to go with to help you scale, right? I know in the way that I asked this question, like we're a little bit different than like a marketing agency, right?
Yep.
So when you were making a decision to kind of partner with someone or to work with a company to help you scale, like what were you looking for, and what kind of stood out about Conversionly?
Yeah, so we did in that first week that I mentioned before, we did 14 calls with 14 different organizations, including
Wow,
yourself.
wow,
Because once again, that was a critical part for us as part of our strategy to get going. But most of those are what I call traditional, what is known as AI now, which you mentioned before, where there was no hand holding in terms of a process, the human intervention, the aspect of being able to qualify, because anybody can pick up a message on the internet, but you don't know if they're actually a valid, qualified lead, and you want to be able to uh, use your time in the best way possible by actually dealing with folks that you have some qualified leads. All of them really didn't deal with youth sports very well. Some of them, I'm not going to name any of them, but they have applications that you would just do it on on your phone. There was no system on the desktop. Once again, a little bit more traditional in the case where I like to manage everything on my PC, even though it's available on my phone. You guys gave us that opportunity, the hand holding in terms of walking us step by step. And sometimes once I would try to speed up the process, but to, to your credit is your folks had a very strict process to make sure that I wouldn't miss anything, because once again, if you miss something as part of the process, you're not going to get that. If I sign up for one of the applications is totally on the phone, and I would be able to sign up. I can create my own website. I can create some keywords to go out and hunt. But at the end of the day, there wasn't a person there telling me, "Listen, this is the best
I
percentage
see
that
what
we've dealt." It's different. It's a different model. So, in the first week, we met with the 14 organizations. Uh, I sat down with the
Were
board.
any of those like marketing agency? I mean, because for anyone who doesn't know about like Conversionly, a couple things that we help with is one, the lead generation piece itself, but then also, and this is more important, and this is where a lot of people fail, and the reason why marketing campaigns or lead gen companies aren't successful is after the lead is generated, like the systems and the processes and the messaging and how to convert that lead into an appointment, and also to someone who actually shows up, right? So you were looking for people that were going to help you with your lead generation and then also the system. It sounds like.
So that's a very good point, and the older I get, the worse it is. But you're absolutely correct. So you covered the CRM situation for us.
Yeah.
You covered the whole lead generation piece, and you covered the qualifying piece of it. So that those three components together, a lot of organizations do them alone. So you're a
Yeah.
CRM, that's great, but now I got to be able to get the lead gen, and I got to hire somebody to do the qualifications to be able to do that. We cover all those steps within the same
Yeah.
business, and it's all in one place. So my connections to my social media, my dashboard, my opportunities, everything is in one place, and I can follow the whole chain. I can bring my contacts into the system to
Hmm.
incorporate them into the process as part of that. And now everything's in one place where I don't have to manage things through Google Drives or go out into other third party applications. Everything is in one location. It's a good
Yeah,
point.
and I think to your point, it's just not something that people think about, and I think people just don't know. They're just really they're looking. Okay, I need to hire. So I don't know how to do this marketing thing. I don't know how to do this sales process thing. So I just need someone to help me out.
Yeah,
And a lot of the stuff out there is very fragmented, and really what it comes down to is like it needs to be a whole like system, right? The whole process needs to be almost under one umbrella because your marketing has to speak to your sales. Because if there's a disconnect, then your conversion rates suffer, right?
yeah,
And you have to be able to generate leads because that's where it all starts. But you also have to be able to generate leads into conversations and those conversations into people who like actually want to meet with you,
yep.
and then to get those people to show up so that you can even talk about your product or service and then
That's
close
correct.
them.
Yep.
And the biggest thing that I feel like people need to know is, I mean, while we have a captive audience here, is that a lot of people think that they need to rent that out.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like this is truly like if you're a business who needs a conversation to close a deal, this process, this lead generation, marketing, like generating the leads and then like taking them into a system so that no matter like to your point, you can put your contacts into like
Yep.
website, SEO, paid ads, like whatever.
Yep.
You need to own that process because that is literally how you make money. And if if you're doing like the old model where you're renting it out to other companies, and then let's just say that company goes away or they're not very good, now you're in the same position that you were before, right? So
Absolutely.
I feel
I
like
give
people need
I
to
give
take
you
ownership of that lead
uh,
and marketing process.
absolutely. I'm going to give you a quick story, and I know time is of the essence here, but the I did a startup in 2008 in the financial services space. We ended up selling the business to Bloomberg in 2013.
Hmm.
Um, but the pain points of that starting of that business were educational as part of the interview process that we performed at the beginning of June in terms of what we wanted and for what reasons. Because some of the points you bring up are very important. Is uh, it was an organic growth. I was making the phone calls. I purchased a CRM system. I hired a sales and marketing organization to try to do what they were supposed to do. At the end of the day, that failed, and I had to bring that in house as part of it. So if I had your system back during the days of the product, and it was called FellStation, once again, fintech, totally different world, but
Yeah.
it was an organic growth to the point. The gentleman who actually funded the business, and I obviously met with him once a month, said, "If at this pace, we're going to have to shut down this business within 12 months because it's not picking up speed fast enough." We were able to do it through some distribution pieces, but not from the sales and lead gen side of it because it wasn't happening fast enough.
Yeah.
This process is a gold mine for us because I mean you wake up in the morning and you're ready to go. It's just
Yeah.
there.
When you sold that last business, did you eventually have all of that in house?
We had everything in house except the social media side of it.
Just like the lead gen itself?
Yeah, the lead gen was all in
Yeah.
house at that
I mean,
point.
like the sales process part.
It was definitely, and once again, just like this, it was only seven of us, but
Yeah.
we built it in a scalable model. Our implementation process, I think, was 7 minutes to implement a client from start to finish. It was fast, repeatable, and got on board. The longest part of it was really, cold calling, trying to qualify to see if they were looking for, asking open-ended questions to find out if it's actually
Mhm.
something that is needed there, and then move forward. Yeah, it was the experience was very helpful, and it did succeed, but it could have succeeded a lot faster with a
Yeah,
more of a scalable, repeatable model.
for sure. So you've only been working for us for a short time. Let's tell us a little bit about the results so far.
The results so far, well, I think we did. I think we were in the late 66, 67% hit rate so far in terms of closing clients, and the the qualified lead aspect of it. We did 107, I think it was the total number, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, and we closed 67% of them. And just so you know, doesn't mean that the other ones we're not closing. We've only gotten, and this is a very important point. We have gotten rejected from one organization only. Just to be clear, every other organization that's there, it's not that they've disappeared and they've closed and gone away. There's a couple that said that it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, but they went.
Yeah.
But there's only one. And funny story is, because the system's automated, I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and I did go to the restroom as normally I would, and I pick up my phone because everybody's on the phone. It was like 3:30 in the morning, Justin, and I saw a message, and I responded to it. The gentleman got upset that I responded in the middle of the
Up that
night
early.
because he got the text. So I just spoke to him actually yesterday. We laughed about it, but he said, "I'm going to hold off right now. My fall season's already started. We'll look at it in the winter season as part of it." But that's the only rejection, because I think the 67% is, as you know, is very high, because I used to
Yeah.
deal
The
with like
culture.
11 and 12% in my previous life. 60% is like
Pretty good.
incredible.
You have a really good offer there. Yeah, for sure.
It's in the consumer world too. But, there's a lot of convincing, a lot of case, but it has it home. But I don't have rejections, because at the end of the day, they're able to use something within the system. We have 3 clients that signed up just for one reason. We have parent carpooling capabilities. So that's the biggest headache they had, was
Oh, that's cool.
getting the kids to practice, right? So now the parents get on the application, they communicate with each other, they set up the schedule on who's picking up who, and now they're able. All the kids go to practice, which makes the coach happy as part of it, and it takes the headache away from him, because he used to be able to manage and have to communicate to everybody. Is this one coming today? Now he doesn't have to manage that. It takes care of itself. So once again, it's for certain features. It's modular. It's all a SaaS model, web based. If people have their own website, we white label it. It goes right onto their website, and they're very comfortable. And now we're doing it at the professional level. We signed up the Dominican Republic for baseball and basketball in the country, and we've now doing 4 sports professionally in Mexico as part of that. So it's now expanding, because once again, the features are solving problems, especially in the Caribbean, Central and South America, where they deal with a lot of local televising or communicating of the games. This
Mm.
allows them to get the information to the United States or Europe or Asia, where a lot of the kids that play professionally there are coming from those countries, but yet mom and dad and their uncles and aunts and grandparents can't watch them play because the communication doesn't get out there fast enough. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, all your folks know it, because I tell them all the time. It's easy. Like, I deal with Steven right now on our next steps, and it's a goal of mine. We spend like 3 hours, I think, the other day. He probably got in trouble all the time he spent with me but he was like you just mentioned. Sports hit home for parents, and he dealt with a lot of those same headaches as he was growing up, and it just hit home. But it doesn't work without both parts of it. You can have a
Yeah.
great application, and if the process is broken, then you're going to fail anyway. So
Yeah.
this allows both of them to work together very well.
So you mentioned a couple times just like predictable, like waking up and seeing appointments pop up, and
Yeah.
just knowing that like your calendar is going to be full. Like, what? How many appointments are you seeing?
We're averaging about 8 to 10 on a daily basis.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, so what does that look like? I know you sent me some numbers for revenue. What does that look like?
we average out between 5 and 6 thousand per client on a yearly basis. With the numbers that we've been doing, it equates to, right now, in 3 months, it's around $450,000 in revenue as part of it. And once again, it's just starting off right now. We have we just signed Las Vegas for powerlifting and wrestling, which is huge. And we just signed the entire UFC world over there, and we're just starting to implement them. They want us to come out and present, but once again, so my point is, there's so much revenue that's coming right now. It's just
Mhm.
that the we're implementing them as we speak as part
Yeah,
of the
it's
process.
literally every sport,
Yeah,
any
it's every
sport.
sport. It's like that one in Las Vegas. It's judo, powerlifting, and wrestling are the three big ones there as part of it. So we're doing events for them. One event that we're doing, they have 500,000 people attending. Once again, from a revenue sharing perspective to an organization, that's a huge producer
Yeah.
because they invite everybody in at no cost, but any merchandise and things that they purchase as part of their site creates revenue for them. So think about it. They're offering an event at no cost, and now they're still making money because of all the other stuff that they offer because of the
Yeah.
application. It gives them all the bandwidth within that. Um, so yeah, once again, I can speak for hours and
Yeah,
hours
you got a
about
great business. Yeah.
it. No,
Last question: when you were going through, I always like to ask everybody this. When you were going through the sales process, and
yep.
you were interviewing those 14 companies, like what was key? Like what I guess would keep you from signing up with a company, or what was a reason that you maybe were hesitant about Conversionly?
Uh, well, I always doubt. Just so you know, just nature of the person. Um, I'm going to answer the first question first. So what I was looking for was a single solution that covered my end-to-end workflow, and I just
Mm,
wanted to focus on selling. That was my number one focus. Um, the other aspect of it is that it was a global capability. That it didn't have limitations and restrictions on what it could do within that piece of it. So you checked off all those, and then the last one was not having to support multiple systems as part of that process because in some cases you do have to support multiple systems in many ways within that. And then it was just a matter of getting to understand the workflow because I need to like see it, feel it, and touch it. And
mm,
every, I'd say 9 out of the other 14 it wouldn't allow me like to actually see it, feel it. It's like, you go on my website. Here's the link. You can sign up and set it up. That doesn't give me the warm and fuzzy feeling at all as
mm,
part of it. With your process, once again, with Dom, I had a few calls with him, and then I was able to go through the process very nicely. And once again, I held it up in most cases because it was a learning curve for me. But once I picked up the process, like I didn't leverage the daily calls as often as I should have at the beginning because I didn't, it's like, okay, I'm focusing on this. But now I knew that that was important because what we're picking up there were pieces that were going to help me expedite the process to be able to get up and running faster if I leveraged it. Once again, that was more on my side. But the three things was single solution. I wanted to focus on sales, so I didn't want to manage multiple applications. And then the last piece of it was, as everybody probably knows, scheduling an appointment is the biggest headache. And you go back and forth. What times are you available? Boom, boom, boom.
yeah.
I don't have to. I don't worry about that. It's on follow ups. Yeah, I do as part, but that's different. That's only about 10 to 20%, where the other 70% or 75% are being taken care of already. It just happens, and there's repeatable communication with them. Where in most cases, traditionally, I would do that. So that now allows me to allocate my time and focus on that piece of it. And once again, I have to report to a board also. So I make sure that all the ducks in order. I have reports in your system. I know exactly where I am at all times. I display your system on my monthly board meeting. I say, here, this is where I am. I expose it. There's no secrets as part of it. This is exactly it. And then I show our application because we have a dashboard for the users and showing them that the numbers are in sync. Because, like I mentioned earlier, I brought all of our data that was externally being held, like on Google Drives and things like that. I brought it in so I can manage everything in one place.
I like it. Awesome. Any last words, Jose?
Uh, Thank you. Thank you very much. It's once again, I wish I had you in 2008. It was it would have been godsend as part of it. Yeah, you guys make my life a lot easier than like I said, we're a small company. You're helpful. I'll do 1,000 of these if you need me to do them because it's you can feel the passion. It's straightforward, and I was involved in that business, so I know the headaches of part. You've automated what I did manually, which was
Yeah.
incredible as part of it. So I thank you.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you because I think just you as a business owner and someone to work with. I was sharing your wins with the team. I was letting them know I was going to interview you later on, and we had like 6 or 7 of the 50 plus people. They're like, they are great to work with. We love Jose. He's got such a good business, and so it's always nice to have a kind of two-way street there. So
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely.
I
I really
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Thank you,
All right,
Jeff.
Jose. Let me pause the recording real quick. Thank you for just being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, no. Thank you for having patience on my lack of responses. Like I said, usually it's on my side. So I appreciate you being nice and diligent to make sure we got this done.